Regan Elijah Alexa Garcia, also known as Elijah Hicklin, a 22-year-old of Joplin, has been charged in federal court for receiving and distributing child sexual abuse materials. Garcia was charged on Thursday, February 29th, with a single count of receiving and distributing child sexual abuse. He remains in federal custody as he awaits a detention hearing on Tuesday, tomorrow, March 5th. On January 13th, FBI agents said a user, who was later identified as this Chomo Garcia, entered a Kik group. What's with Kik tonight? There's a lot of it. And he engaged an undercover officer in a private chat. During that conversation, Garcia told the officer he had pornographic images that he produced himself, including images of a 3-year-old victim that he sent to the undercover officer. That's sickening. He sent an image of child sexual abuse material to the undercover officer he claimed he got by giving the child sleeping pills. Then on February 21st, agents said Garcia sent multiple files of the child sexual abuse material to that officer. A child in one of those images was shown in various restraint devices. In a text conversation, he told the undercover officer he had sexually assaulted a female child within the past few days. Finally, on February 28th, the FBI said a search warrant was executed at Garcia's home. And when agents began to pat Garcia down, he started fighting them and refused to put his hands behind his back and was struggling. He was taken to the ground and handcuffed by multiple law enforcement officials. Well, they got him. See ya, Chomo. Down in Florida, 2 Walton County men were arrested after deputies said they had child sexual abuse materials. Online tips were sent to the Walton County Sheriff's Office, who said they sparked 2 separate investigations into these chomos. Officials say 38-year-old David Case of Defoniac Springs was arrested on February 28th following a search warrant of his home on West White Rose Street. While searching, investigators reportedly found that Case was downloading child sexual abuse material as well as transmitting it. Deputies allegedly arrested 66-year-old Enoch Smallwood of Defoniac Springs also after a search warrant revealed that he too was a chomo and was downloading child sexual abuse materials on his electronic devices. Both of these men received a $50,000 cash-only bond and are still incarcerated at the time of this broadcast. See ya, chomos. The St. George community was rocked last week when Benjamin Stewart, a preschool special education teacher in the Washington County School District, was arrested following a tip-off from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's cyber tip line. The tip alleged Stewart had been sharing sexually explicit images of children and admitted to sexually abusive acts. On February 21st, the Washington County Sheriff's Office initiated an investigation into Stewart after receiving alarming reports from an online chat platform, Kik. Stewart, who was employed at the Hurricane Early Childhood Center, allegedly admitted to sexually abusing a minor and solicited nude photos of other children. Despite his initial denial of these accusations during a police interview, the evidence led to his arrest and a discovery of his troubling activities online. He faced multiple second-degree felony charges related to sexual exploitation of minors, and with an enhanced sentence due to the involvement of children. Scheduled for an initial court appearance, he remains in jail on a no-bond hold, awaiting the legal process to unfold. Hamilton County, Indiana. This is 20-year-old Alex Golden. He referred to himself as a freak and a pedophile on messaging apps. Now he faces more than a dozen charges following an investigation into child sexual abuse videos. The investigation that led to the arrest of Golden began back in October of last year, and he's now charged with 5 counts of child exploitation, a level 4 felony, and 13 counts of possession of child sexual abuse materials. A search warrant for Golden's Kik account led police to examine the account's chat history. The account included images of Golden along with 32 files of child exploitation material and 434 illegal CGI animated files depicting child sexual abuse materials. The detective reviewed some 10,000 Kik chats. In one transcript, Golden discussed with another user how he could exploit being a babysitter in order to target children. He described himself as a pedo in some of the exchanges, and in other chats, Golden discussed his idea to grab a child from a public bathroom. He implied that he got close to doing it once, and the only thing that stopped him was that the kid's father was in the restroom at the same time. In a separate exchange, Golden expressed the idea that he should talk to his therapist, but admitted he didn't want to because he just didn't care, and he was a complete freak and he'd be happy with it. On February 20th of this year, police searched the home where Golden lives. Investigators seized his cell phone and his computer. The search of Golden's phone also included an exchange in which Golden suggested he wanted to flash a child who lived nearby. Well, Golden was booked into the Hamilton County Jail on Thursday, February 29th. He's been there ever since. He appeared at the court the next day after his initial hearing. Then a pretrial conference was scheduled for May and a trial set to start in June. See ya, Chomo. Arkansas. A Jonesboro man is being held on a $100,000 bond after a Greene County judge found probable cause to charge him with child sexual abuse materials. Paragould police arrested 41-year-old Chomo David Northcutt on February 27th on one count of possession of use of child sexual abuse material, which is a Class B felony. He's also charged with one count of furnishing a harmful item to a minor, a Class A misdemeanor. On December 4th at 23, the victim disclosed multiple acts that would constitute possession or use of child sexual abuse material. During an interview with an Arkansas State Police Crimes Against Children Division investigator, the victim reportedly said that Northcutt emailed the messages between November 20th and December 4th. When the victim's parent found the emails, they confronted Northcutt, who didn't deny the allegations. After reviewing the case, Greene County District Judge Daniel Stidham found probable cause on February 13th to charge Northcutt and issued a warrant for his arrest. Northcutt is currently being held in the Greene County Detention Center awaiting his next court appearance. Well, sentencing was delayed again today in Cumberland County Criminal Court for a man convicted of child rape. A new sentencing date is scheduled for May 17th for 62-year-old Jimmy Harold Clark. Court officials say Clark was found guilty last December of the offense by a jury. Rape of a child in Tennessee carries a minimum of 25 years to 40 years to serve at 100%. The victim was just 11 years old at the time of the incident. Clark was previously scheduled for sentencing on January 10th, but it was postponed then too. Let's get rid of this guy. See ya, Chomo. A convicted sex offender appeared in Cumberland County Criminal Court this morning after being indicted by a grand jury. Court documents state that 30-year-old Cody Tyler Bushina is charged with violation of the sex offender registry and driving on a suspended license. He didn't register a vehicle he was driving on time to authorities. In court today, Bushina entered a guilty plea to violation of the sex offender registry. He received 2 years in prison for it. He's appearing on the sex offender registry after his conviction in 2015 for sexual battery of a child. Scott City Police Department officers are looking for a woman charged with sexually abusing a child. This is Taylor Mangsker. She's been charged with statutory sodomy or attempted statutory sodomy / deviant sexual intercourse with a person younger than 12. A no-bond warrant was issued for her. A call had come in from relatives of the victim saying that the victim told them Mansker had touched the 5-year-old girl inappropriately. The charges against Mansker came after interviews with the Missouri Children's Division's social service specialist. Mansker denied the allegations, saying, "There's too much of that on my family, and she wouldn't do that to a child." Mansker stated she didn't know why the girl would say those things, and she said she could have her mixed up with somebody else. Based on the circumstances of the name the girl called Mansker and other behavioral factors, probable cause was filed against her. Mansker initially agreed to do a polygraph test, then canceled it the day of the test. A warrant was then issued for her arrest on Thursday. An arraignment was held in Cumberland County Criminal Court this morning for a man charged with child sex crimes. The indictment against 35-year-old Joshua Allen Whalen states he is charged with 13 counts of statutory rape by an authority figure, 4 counts of sexual battery by an authority figure, and single counts of attempted statutory rape by an authority figure and tattooing of a minor. The victim is the same in all of the charges. The 4 counts of sexual battery by an authority figure reportedly took place between February and May of last year. It states Whalen used his position of trust to accomplish sexual penetration of the minor. In court today, the judge set the next court date for May 17th of this year. Looks like he's got his ears blew out a few times, don't it? A Teaneck woman, wherever that is, was jailed for not reporting sexual assaults against 2 different children. Shanasia Taylor, a 32-year-old warehouse worker, acted in a manner that would endanger the welfare of a child, specifically by not reporting an act of sexual assault against children. Bergen County Prosecutor Mark Musella said that Monday, March 4th. That's today. Criminal records put the time frame of the alleged crimes at May of 2022. Taylor, a Patterson native and mother of 2, was arrested on Friday and charged by Teaneck police with child endangerment involving sexual conduct. Members of the prosecutor's Special Victims Unit assisted that. She remains held Monday, today, in the Hudson County Correctional Center in Kearney, which houses various female inmates from North Jersey. So that's where Teaneck is. Well, see ya, Chomo enabler. Phoenix, Arizona. Timothy Burton McGee, a 56-year-old, has been sentenced to 170 years in prison for the possession of horrific child sexual abuse materials. Dropbox accounts were found with an IP address linked to McGee's home church and workplace. Those 2 accounts had 633 files of child sexual abuse materials. Many of the files contained horrific images of the sexual abuse and rape of a very young child, including infants, toddlers. Each Dropbox account had multiple logins between January of 19 and March of 2020 from the defendant's home, his church, and his work. And on June 9th, 2020, while executing a search warrant of the defendant's residence, detectives also found the defendant's laptop, which contained an additional 1,182 CSAM files. On January 11th of this year, McGee was found guilty of 10 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor. By March 1st, he was sentenced to 17 years in prison for each count, and they'll be served consecutively 170 years. The Maricopa County attorney says McGee was handed this sentence appropriately because of his lack of remorse. See ya, Chomo. A convicted sex offender is in the Richmond County Jail on registration charges from 2 counties further west. Jail records show 33-year-old Aaron Lamont Fauntleroy is charged with failing to report a new address as a sex offender in Union County and failing to register as a sex offender in Mecklenburg County. He's being held on a combined $20,000 secured bond and has court dates scheduled for March 18th and 20th. Records show Fauntleroy was arrested March 3rd. However, the new charges were not reflected in online court records the afternoon of March 4th. According to the North Carolina Sex Offender Registry, Fauntleroy was convicted in 2018 of one count of taking indecent liberties with a child in Cleveland County. The abuse took place in 2017 when he was 26 and the victim was just 2 years old, the registry shows. Records with the North Carolina Department of Adult Corrections show he received a 6-month split probation. How are you going to molest a 2-year-old and get a split 6 months probation? I don't understand this. And then he only served less than 2 months behind bars. It makes me mad. His minimum registration period is listed as only being 10 years. It should be for life. He should be in prison for life. According to the registry, Fauntleroy's Charlotte address was last verified in 2021. Disgusts me. These stories disgust me. Guilford County, North Carolina. On Friday, the U.S. Marshal Service and the Albuquerque Police Department arrested Jose Murado de Luna, a 37-year-old in Albuquerque, New Mexico, stemming from an ongoing investigation with the Guilford County Sheriff's Office. The deputies were present on the ground in New Mexico for this operation. Murado de Luna was arrested for a warrant of rape of a child by an adult offender. Murado de Luna is still in custody in New Mexico and waiting on an extradition hearing to learn if he will be sent back to Guilford County for prosecution. Well, you know he will be. The Sheriff's Office says this investigation is still ongoing and no further information is currently available. But when it does become available, you can be sure to find it here first on the sex offender hit list. See ya, Chomo!